South Ossetia lies in the heart of the Caucasus, between Europe and Asia. Here, every day, the sun rises over high mountains, and cities built many centuries ago still retain their unique history. Artist Andrei Kosobiev goes for a jog every morning.
Part of the sun, my homeland, my beauty. Your streams, gardens, and your land have always made us so happy.
From the hilltop, he can fit the South Ossetian capital of Tskhinval in the palm of his hand. Moments like this fill him with inspiration for his next work. The Republic of South Ossetia lies in the Caucasus. It borders Russia to the north and Georgia to the south, west, and east. Mountains cover 90% of South Ossetia's territory, which is more than 1,000 meters above sea level. Tskhinval is its capital. The Trans-Caucasian Highway, which connects Russia to Georgia and Armenia, runs through the city. After his morning run, artist Andrei returns to his studio. It is crammed with his works. He's never been short of creative ideas, except for the time his native land became the scene of an armed conflict. Back then, art was the last thing on his mind.
I had moments where I totally neglected my work, especially during the war, because, obviously, I was preoccupied with other things. My life values also changed. To be honest, I thought it was never going to end.
Uneasy relations between Georgia and Ossetia started in the late 1980s. They became aggravated after Georgia withdrew from the USSR. The deputies of the South Ossetian Parliament passed a resolution on state sovereignty in September 1990, which Georgia refused to recognize. Since then, Georgia has been seeking unification with South Ossetia. On the night from August the 7th to August the 8th, 2008, Georgian troops began shelling Tskhinval. The military units were forced to leave the country as a result of the Russian peacekeeping operation. Afterwards, Russia recognized South Ossetia as an independent state. In August 2008, Leyla Tadeyeva and her young daughters spent 5 days in this basement together with another 500 people. The residents of Tskhinval hid underground when the town came under attack.
Now it seems to me that outside on the street, the whole thing is going to start anew. Of course, it's bad memories, but in fact, we all love this basement because it helped us to stay alive.
Gioconda was only 9 when the war broke out. She was frightened, but didn't show her fear in order to not upset her mother. Their neighbor, Laura, was constantly by the family's side. Laura is Georgian. Her greatest concern was that Georgian soldiers would shoot her first because of the fact that she was living in Ossetia. There was no food or water in the basement. The underground inhabitants spent several days totally unaware of what was happening above ground and in constant fear for their lives.
The Georgians, they walked down the street. They were shooting from their submachine guns. They thought there was an abandoned house here. They were sure there was no one there. But there were incidents when they threw grenades into the basements.
I will never forget the noise. The whole time, boom, boom, boom. And it got closer, and then we heard an explosion. It never crossed our minds that it was from a missile launcher.
Little Gioconda took a pencil and a single sheet of paper with her into the basement. Down there, she drew sketches of everything around her.
My drawings are gloomy. They are in black pencil. I almost wore it out while I sat drawing here. It was dark. Light only shone in from that place, so we also lit some candles.
Gioconda is attending a masterclass in drawing at an art school in Tskhinval. South Ossetian painter Tamerlan Skavrebov, who's well known here, has invited Gioconda and other talented youngsters to attend the masterclass. Today he's showing the children his own painting. It's filled with bullet damage from August 2008.
During the Georgian invasion, shells and shrapnel destroyed many paintings. Several brilliant works were ruined. Eyewitnesses say that they entered with submachine guns and just riddled the paintings with bullet holes.
But today the artist wants his pupils to choose a peaceful theme for their drawings.
What a good girl you are. That's a great idea. Fill the picture with birds. Add doves, add a rainbow. Use lots of bright colors.
I don't want to remember bad things after the war. I hope that everything will be bright and colorful.
Bright new roofs now adorn houses in post-war Tskhinval. They have replaced the old ones that were damaged during the war. But a lot is still to be repaired. Almost every building here carries a trace of the conflict. The Parliament building downtown was almost completely destroyed.
This is the middle part of the building, the second floor. There used to be an organ hall here. It was very badly damaged during the military hostilities in 2008. Almost nothing is left, except for a concrete carcass. The organ was one of a kind, and it was burned to cinders.
Many Tskhinval residents who were left homeless in 2008 have already moved into new apartments. This neighborhood was constructed by Moscow builders. The family of Polina Gabloeva lives in her new house in the village of Tbyet, 15 kilometers from Tskhinval.
An old house used to stand at this place. It was completely destroyed during the war. Only some timbers are left. 2 bombs hit the house and tore it apart.
Polina took shelter with her family in a trailer for 2 years.
We lived in this wagon for 2 years before they built this house for us. That's where we live now. Here we do our household chores.
A year ago, Polina moved into a new 2-story house.
It's hard for me to imagine where we would have lived if they hadn't built a new house for us.
There is now peace in the village of Tbyet where Polina lives. Once upon a time, she wouldn't even let her daughter play in the courtyard alone. Dolls are little Alda's favorite playthings. Polina hopes that before long, her child will forget all about that war. Download the official RT application to your iPhone or iPod Touch from the iTunes App Store. Watch RT live on the go. Video on demand, RT's live broadcasts, and RSS feeds now in the palm of your hand. Question more on RT.com.
Life in Russia would be so much brighter if you knew more about someone from first impressions. Meet friends.rt.com.
For many years, people in Tskhinval were more concerned with survival at a time when they faced a blockade and shelling. With peace returned, scientists also came back to the city. They hoped to make lots of discoveries in this ancient land. Historians call the capital of South Ossetia a paradise for archaeologists.
A Parthian king gave this town its urban status 1700 years ago. That was in the year 265. Needless to say, there are very many underground passages beneath this town. They were used by Scythians. The place was in fact a Scythian fortress.
The tops of old fortresses and watchtowers rise from behind the mountains in every direction from Tskhinval. The ancestors of modern Ossetians settled in these parts in the 18th century. It was a must to build fortifications in every village. There are about 500 watchtowers in South Ossetia.
A family that did not have a watchtower was not considered to be a family in the 17th to 18th centuries. People believed that such a family would vanish sooner or later as a result of internal and external factors, such as wars and vendettas.
This watchtower is located not far from the town of Hussar. It was built in a gorge nearby. They extracted the stones for construction from the local mountains. The builders processed the rocks, laid them, and used egg white as mortar.
Most towers were built in square and pyramid-like shapes. Every floor had 8 arrow slits, 2 for each wall, to provide a better view. This way they could shoot more precisely. This tower had at least 5 floors.
Zoologists as well as historians take an interest in the walls of the ancient towers and monasteries. Vladimir Gabayev is a contributor to South Ossetia's Red Book of Rare and Endangered Animals. It will soon be published. Here on the rocks, lizards can be spotted. They creep out of the cracks to warm up in the sun.
Very many people are so scared of lizards that they panic when they see one. The popular belief is that lizards will bite you. Okay, watch my finger. There is no blood on it, not even one drop. The lizards can't bite through my skin.
Vladimir studies the region's fauna. The buzzard hovering over the river is a predatory bird. Normally it feeds on gophers and mice. But now it has a different dish in mind.
It's a plain freshwater crab. There aren't many of them out here, and few know that we have them. Adult female crabs sometimes have caviar here, but these are young ones. They most certainly don't have any now.
Ossetian freshwater crabs are on the verge of extinction because of both predators and people. Some eat their meat, others breed them at home in aquariums. Vladimir Gabayev believes crabs should definitely be entered into the Red Book. This is the Lesser Asian scorpion, which is also facing extinction. It inhabits a small area near South Ossetia's capital. The scorpion's population has drastically dropped in recent years because of their mass capture for terrariums.
Oh, I found a pregnant female. Her belly is bulging. Scorpions are live bears. When she gives birth to her young ones, they climb on her back to feed there for a while, and then they start fending for themselves.
During the spring mating period, the scorpion's poison is especially dangerous. Mostly pets fall victim to their stings, but sometimes even people are attacked. Vladimir Gabayev suggests establishing a small nature reserve in the scorpion's habitat. It will help protect Tskhinval's residents and help secure the future of an entire species of rare scorpion.
They lived alongside dinosaurs many years ago. Most species from that era have since perished, but scorpions have survived to this day.
Tour manager Vadim Pliev is traveling to the west of South Ossetia. He's been invited by village residents who want to participate in ecological tourism. When visitors arrive, hostesses of one of the homes prepare special pies. In South Ossetia, no meal can go without them.
Traditionally, Ossetian pies are made from potatoes with meat and cabbage. Mostly they are filled with cheese and greens. My favorite one is with cabbage, but I like the cheese one too.
For Ossetians, pies are more than just food. It is a special dish. For celebrations, they make a countless number. For funerals, only 2. Today, the hostesses prepare 3 with cheese, potatoes, and greens.
Open the oven? Let's put them in. You're a young lady and you're doing a good job. Are you putting the pie in the oven?
While the women make pies, the homeowner meets the guests.
Hi, Georgi. I haven't seen you for quite a while.
Hi, come on in. What brings you here?
In the burning hot oven, the pies quickly turn brown. Then they take them out and butter them.
I need to talk to you.
Come in, come in.
How are you doing?
Oh, summer's almost here. It's getting warmer. We'll be making hay soon. The family's getting ready to make hay. Hey, bring us some wine.
Wine and freshly baked pies appear at the table.
You never turn a pie over when you cut it. And you don't turn it around either. Otherwise, they say grace will turn away from you.
The Kli Gorge, 30 kilometers north of Chinval, is one of the most beautiful places in the area. There have never been any industrial facilities here. There are no paved roads. Herbalists often come here to wander through the alpine tundra looking for rare flowers to use in infusions.
We gather well-known plants like thyme, oregano, raspberries, lady's mantle, willow herb, sage, and even bilberries, both berries and leaves. We have a big selection of herbal teas.
Rustam's great-great-grandfather used to live here. Family legend has it that he too was a herbalist. He collected plants, treated people with infusions, and reportedly lived to be 140 years old. There has never been any war in the gorge where people collect herbs. The village of Magut, on the contrary, is right on the border between Georgia and South Ossetia. In the past, it used to take local residents an entire day to cover the 15 kilometers between Tskhinval and their village.
The village was in the occupation zone from 1989 to 2008. Magut has always been an Ossetian enclave surrounded on all sides by Georgian villages. The Georgian government sent police and special forces here, and they harassed people living in our village.
Nowadays, Enal Tibilov can have a family business. He and his son keep bees.
You see, they're gathering honey. That is, the young bees vacate these cells here, and then, what do the rest of the bees do, Petya?
They collect the honey.
They collect the honey, that's right.
Inga, the lady of the house, looks after chickens.
Living in the country, in a village, is no easy life, but our kids help us. They go out for water, they feed the chickens, and help their father run the household.
Zoologist Vladimir Gabayev has come to the Zonkar Natural Reserve, known as the largest reserve in the South Caucasus. The park's flora includes beech, alder and oak trees, as well as various species of conifer. The reserve's southern frontier borders on an artificial lake. Recently, a reserve attendant came across an abandoned roe calf that was starving to death. He took the calf home and successfully nursed it back to health.
We're feeding it milk.
What kind of milk is it?
It's natural milk.
It must think you're its mom. I see it is licking your fingers.
Oh yes, she's really gotten used to me.
Vladimir Gabayev says the calf will probably have to stay with humans now, reared in a pen next to the house. It has already become domesticated. If it were returned to the wild, it might easily fall prey to carnivores.
This is a roe deer, the smallest species of deer that live in our republic. We also have the Caspian red, one of the larger species of the deer family.
Tskhinval. The downtown area is commonly referred to as the Jewish Quarter, and still features some houses that date back several centuries.
Well, this house here is from the 19th century. It was built by a Jewish merchant. In Soviet times, this was a shop. And just before the war, this house accommodated a Jewish community center. It was very beautiful.
Beneath the streets of Tskhinval, archaeologists have discovered numerous tunnels which sprawl the length of the city. But where those underground passages lead is still a mystery.
This is one of those tunnels which practically run all over the city. In olden days, there used to be a tunnel beneath every house. These underground passageways probably stretched as far as the edge of the city and then headed that way, even across the river. But this one here we haven't fully unearthed yet. We have dug almost 10 meters deep and there's still no end in sight.
At the Tskhinval Art School, the children are painting. These young artists were born during the height of the Georgian-Ossetian turmoil. Only in the past 3 years have they finally begun living in peace.
This drawing features a park with children hanging out and playing. And the sun is shining.
And I've painted a village. It's cheerful. Nobody is troubled there. Everything is bright and colorful.
I am drawing my brother and myself. We are out in our courtyard in Chinval, playing together.
I wanted to have brighter colors because I don't want to see Chinval looking sad. So I've done a bright painting. I'd like Ossetia to be like Paris.
Gioconda spent days hiding in a basement during the 2008 attack on Tskhinval. Now she paints her home city, which she would like to see as the most beautiful and peaceful place in the world.